Dan Ives argues that the software sector is entering a global arms race, that the US is leading for the first time in 30 years. However, this revolution may actually be a death knell for legacy software companies that face total replacement by new AI tools from OpenAI and Anthropic.
Services because of AI. And I am wondering if some of the worst case scenarios that people have sort of brought up about a SaaS apocalypse may not be taken into account the pivots that some of these companies, and I do want to just reiterate, some of these companies can make to survive what's happening out there.
I think you nailed it. I mean, to summarize, I mean, our view is you cannot paint the whole sector with the same brush. I almost call it an AI ghost trade that's happening. You know, and what ultimately really it looks like is that you're starting to now see, I think, some of these software companies starting to really show that demand's there, from Palantir to Datadog, what ultimately will be next week as well.
Well, let's talk about Salesforce, because obviously they're kind of the benchmark for software as a service stocks, and they've made a big push with their agentic agent force and this idea that that is their future. Do you think Mark Benioff can actually pull this off? There was a great story in the Bloomberg terminal today about, well, let's just say some of the fits and starts that they've had in trying to get this out of the gate.
I think they're going to be able to pull it off. I mean, but look, it's quarter by quarter that they're going to have to prove it out. And I think what you're seeing across software, it's now execution phase, but that's the next stage of the AI revolution, as we're seeing chips to infrastructure and to software. And I think software is not going to be disintermediated. Look what's happened on cybersecurity, CrowdStrike, Palo Alto. Look at what we've seen there, because that's going to be even a bigger demand story, just given what we see with the models.
Yeah, and I am curious about this, though. Is there a sense, though, that there will still need to be, maybe to some degree, some sort of attrition or consolidation in this industry as we start to see more of these AI tools from Anthropic and OpenAI, et cetera, start to be rolled out? Because, I mean, I've used some of them, and and I'm not going to name the companies, but it's very obvious there are certain legacy software out there that could easily be replaced by some of these new tools.
You're going to see marriages. You're going to see consolidation. And I think the writing will be on the wall for some software companies, and that ultimately could be the next stage. But you cannot just say that the software sector is done. They're going to play a huge role in the AI revolution. I think that is important in this next 3 to 6 months. We've talked about it. Look at names like ServiceNow and others. I continue to think Oracle is massively disintermediated as well.
When we talk about sort of what this next phase is, and I want to kind of go back a couple of days ago when Jensen Huang was on the conference call, and they had this in the press release as well, the idea that they're going to start to break out this idea of edge computing, the idea, as he talked about in the call, that we are kind of entering this next phase of AI, physical AI, robotics, a lot of devices effectively. So we're going beyond just data centers. I am curious as to see how fast you think this evolution will be, and whether the companies that have kind of led us here in the stock market, that is, are going to be the same companies riding the wave for whatever Jensen's vision is for this next 3 years or so.
The Godfather speaks, right? I mean, what Jensen talked about, I think is right. And you're going to have others emerge as well on infrastructure. Look, think about it. We weren't talking about Palantir 3-4 years ago, if you think where they were. Look what's happened with Datadog, Snowflake, and others. And I think you're going to see more and more companies come out of physical AI and robotics, and that's the next stage of what I view as the AI revolution. We are in the third inning, top of the third, one out, in terms of this AI revolution.
Well, that gets to this idea. Do you think that the U.S. companies will continue to be leaders in there? There's been a lot of talk that when you start to move to edge products, devices, robotics, et cetera, that it's Korea and Asia and even some companies in Europe that actually have maybe a little bit more of an advantage because they've primarily been focused on this a lot more than U.S. companies have.
Look, first time in 30 years, the U.S. is ahead of China when it comes to tech. And I think there's one, if you look right from NVIDIA, the hyperscalers, to Palantir, and obviously across the whole infrastructure. Robotics, China's leading. Power, they lead. But that's also why this is an arms race that's going to continue to play out. But it's not just about U.S. It's what's happening in Korea. You see with the Kospi. This is going to be a global AI revolution. But at the end of the day, it's being led by the U.S. For the first time in 30 years. U.S. is ahead of China in tech. And I think that's extremely important. But it all starts and ends He's wearing the black leather jacket and is the godfather of AI Jensen from NVIDIA.
All right, Dan. Well, you're always known for bold calls, and I'll ask you for one more. Any chance the Mets get back to 500 anytime soon?
Look, I think we're starting to maybe turn around in terms of getting to 500. But again, like Knicks will win the championship, Mets get over to 500, will be in a good spot.
All right, Dan. Have a wonderful weekend.
You
Dan
too.
Ives, man.